The Community Television Consortium of Stark County presents this week's edition of What's Happening, the show about you, the people of Stark County. And now your host for tonight's program, Susie Vitale.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of What's Happening in Stark County. I'm Susie Vitale. Our first two guests tonight are Cheryl Repko, who's the Executive Director of the Lake Township Chamber of Commerce, and Todd Elder, who's the Vice President of the Quail Hollow State Park Camera Club. And Cheryl, you're here to talk about Christmas at the Hollow. The leaves are still on the trees, but we've got to start thinking about Christmas. So would you like to tell us, first of all, where Quail Hollow State Park is located, how you would get there if you wanted to come to Christmas at the Hollow?
Okay. Quail Hollow State Park is located just north of Hartville. If you were coming from the south, you would enter Hartville on State Route 43, right to the center of the town, and go through the traffic light, continue straight on Congress Lake Road. And I don't think it's more than about a half mile or so to the entrance of Quail Hollow State Park.
Okay, and you turn in, there's lots of signs to find your way.
Yes.
Okay, tell us about Christmas at the Hollow. What's it like?
Well, this is the 13th year for Christmas at the Hollow, and it is co-sponsored by the Quail Hollow Volunteers and the Lake Township Chamber of Commerce. On the park grounds is a 40-room manor home that was built in the 1920s. It used to be the Stewart Estate. Each year, the second week in December, the manor home is decked out for Christmas.
It's beautiful.
We decorate each room. It provides a nice Christmas spirit. There is Christmas caroling. There's musical groups, bell choirs in the library. There's wassail and cookies. Horse-drawn wagon rides through the woods at night, singing, or on the one afternoon that we have it open, to the wedding cottage and back. There's no tour of the wedding cottage, but it is a self-guided tour through the 40-room manor home. There's also a display in the carriage house because Quail Hollow State Park focuses on environmental and preserving wildlife. One of the nice features about Christmas at the Hollow is also that we have in the carriage house an all-natural decorated tree and hands-on activities for children and grown-ups alike to make their own Christmas ornament from items from the fields and the woods.
That's really nice. Okay, now when people come to the mansion, is there a charge to come to this event?
There is a $1 donation that is collected at the door for everyone 9 years old and up.
Okay, and how about parking? I know parking is far.
Right. Parking is limited, and if the weather's nice, it's not a bad hike. It's a short walk. But because it is limited, the way that it's handled is people have to contact Quail Hollow State Park in writing or by calling the phone number and ask for a reservation form. The hours are limited, that it's December 6th through the 10th, Wednesday through Sunday. From Wednesday to Saturday, it's every evening from 6:30 to 8:30 for arrival times. These parking passes have to be sent out, so that's why we're thinking of it early.
Okay, we've got to talk about the Camera Club now, but at the end we'll give the phone number, so if anyone wants more information, they can call Quail Hollow. Now, Quail Hollow State Park also has a Camera Club, and Todd's here to talk about that. Do you want to tell us who belongs to your Camera Club? Like, how do you join?
Primarily, we're a group of hobbyist photographers, and it ranges in skill level from the amateur through to the professional. Joining is not difficult with our club. You just basically come to a meeting and pay your dues.
Okay, what are your meetings like?
Usually, well, we meet the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month, starting at 7 o'clock at the Quail Hollow State Park Manor House.
Okay.
And usually we start with a business meeting, which ranges usually about half an hour, and then we go into a program. And some of the recent programs we have had are on portraiture, still life, and sometimes we have our own members giving programs, sometimes it's outside speakers.
Okay, now you've got a photo contest coming up. Do you want to tell us when the deadline is for the photo contest?
The deadline for the photo contest is October 29th, and the exhibition will be November 11th and 12th.
Okay, and this is really a good exhibition. It's really worthwhile. You can tell that a Camera Club puts this on. If people want the brochures, how do they go about getting them?
Primarily, you can call Quail Hollow State Park at 877-6652. We also have brochures out in a number of the local stores, supermarkets, and camera stores.
Okay, so if anyone wants information on Christmas at the Hollow or the Camp Club, what's the phone number one more time?
877-6652.
Okay, thanks for coming this evening. We've got Pathway next. Stay with us. Our next guest is Jim Bridges, who's the Executive Director of Pathway. You're here to talk about Pathway. First of all, would you like to explain what Pathway is?
Yes, thanks for having me here. Pathway is a residential program for children. We provide foster care for children who have emotional and behavioral problems. We recruit, screen, train, and provide supportive services for the foster parents who take care of these children.
Okay, how long has Pathway existed?
Pathway has been in this community for 22 years. We started out as a group home program, and eventually most of our program became foster care.
Okay, is this some kind of anniversary or something? Are you celebrating in some way this year?
Right now we're celebrating the 22nd anniversary of Pathway. Mm-hmm. The group home opened 22 years ago.
Wow.
In 1973.
Mm-hmm. And how are you celebrating?
We're celebrating the anniversary with what we call the Community Day, mm-hmm. which will be held November 11th at First Christian Church. And we'll have a workshop there for our foster parents.
Okay, so what sort of a workshop is it going to be? What's it going to be like? Is this for just foster parents or people who might be interested in being foster parents?
People who are interested in foster parents are welcome to attend.
Okay.
They may call our office and we'll give them the arrangements for that.
Okay, and what's it going to be like?
Well, the workshop will be focused on what we call attachment disorders. Mm-hmm. Many children who come into care have attachment disorders. That happens when, in the first couple years of life, the natural bonding process between a child and his mother is interrupted. It's disrupted by pain that cannot be alleviated, by a separation from the mother. It's disrupted in such a way, and he does not bond with that figure, and so that creates some emotional problems that are very difficult for children.
What ways is this expressed in children? I mean, how would you recognize if someone had this, when maybe the children that come into your care have this?
Well, children with attachment disorders are the most difficult to deal with. Mm-hmm. They have behaviors that include destructive behaviors to property, self-destructive behaviors. They don't trust other people, and they behave untrustworthily. They may lie with no purpose, what we call it purposeless lying. They may get involved in behavior that is harmful to other people.
Okay, is this fixable? What do you do when you have these sorts of problems with a child? Is there any way to fix this disorder?
At one time, not so long ago, these children were thought to be hopeless, and they were described in the literature as hopeless. There was nothing that could be done. Recently, some therapists have developed a specialized treatment for these children. It's called holding therapy. And the person who is presenting this workshop is a specialist in holding therapy. We feel very fortunate to have engaged him to come to Canton and present this program.
Okay, why is trust and bonding so important?
Well, if a child does not learn to trust other people and to bond with other people, then he is truly a dangerous person. Because if I'm not bonded to other people, if I'm not tied in with other people, then I can hurt them, and I won't feel any guilt or any conscience problems.
Okay, so this is a very important thing for these foster parents and probably most of us to know. Okay, so you have the speaker coming, and where is it going to be again, and the date?
The program will be at First Christian Church on Saturday. On Cleveland Avenue. First Christian Church on Cleveland Avenue at from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. November the 11th. That's a Saturday.
Okay, is there any charge if somebody wants to come that's not one of your foster parents already?
No, this is no fee. There's no fee to be charged.
If somebody wants more information or they want to become a foster parent, they'd like to attend the seminar, or they'd like more information about this disorder, what's the phone number that they would call?
They would call us at Pathway. The number is 493-0083.
Okay, thanks for coming this evening.
Thank you very much for having me.
We've got more. Stay with us. Our next guest is Don Lederer, and Don is from the North Canton Playhouse. And Don, you're here tonight to talk about Spotlight on Youth. So do you want to explain to us what is Spotlight on Youth?
Yes, Spotlight on Youth is the educational arm of the North Canton Playhouse. We basically go out to the various schools and we put on social issue plays to teach the children different issues that they may face today.
Okay, about how many different productions do you have?
Well, this year we added a new play called Domestic Violence, so that brings our total up to about 10.
Oh, wow. Okay, and what are some of the other issues that you deal with besides domestic violence?
Well, besides domestic violence, we also look at issues like drug abuse, child abuse, teen pregnancy, AIDS awareness. Again, most of the issues that we think teenagers and the kids today need to talk about.
Okay, how long has Spotlight on Youth been going on? I know it's been around for quite some time.
Yes, actually, Spotlight on Youth has been going on for probably more than 10 years. We've had over 200 productions, and probably over 67,000 students have seen one of the 10 productions.
That's incredible. If a school wants to schedule this, the schools call you? Is that how this works?
Yes, the school can call the North Canton Playhouse at 494-1613 and set up a schedule for one of the plays to come in.
Okay, and do they get to pre-read what's in it? I mean, do they want to check the content?
Yes, we send out the scripts. What we recommend is to put the play on in 3 acts. Act 1 would be the actual actors on the stage acting out whatever issue we're talking about. Act 2, the actors would then come back on stage in character and start a dialogue with the students about what they were doing, why they were doing it. Then Act 3 would be a study guide that we give to the teachers where they can go back to the classroom and then reinforce the things they learned. So we definitely want the teachers to know what we're going to be talking about before we get there.
Okay, what age group do you basically focus on?
Actually, we focus on middle school, but we do have different productions, again, depending on the age group. For example, on substance abuse, we have one called the Real Cool Cats, which is designated for K through 4th grade. Then we have another one called Addict, which is for the older students. That's geared more toward high school. So we'll actually tailor our plays depending on the age group that we're at, but we try to concentrate in the middle school age.
Now, I've always heard really good feedback. Do you get good feedback at the North Canton Playhouse for these productions? Do the teachers or the students ever comment?
Oh, yes, we get excellent feedback. The students really like it because it gives them an opportunity to see their peers acting out a lot of these issues. It helps them to maybe address the issue, to think about it, maybe even recognize if that issue affects them. And it also encourages them to seek help. And it's not a teacher or a parent telling them to seek help. It's actually some of their peers.
Okay. What's the phone number if somebody wants to call again at the North Canton
It's 494-1613.
Okay. Now, who are the actors? Where do you get your actors and actresses for these productions?
They actually come from all over. I'm an actor in domestic violence, and I come from Wadsworth, so we recruit from all over. The majority of the actors are students from the school. We have special arrangements to get them out of school so we can go around to the different locations.
I was wondering that because obviously these have to be on during the day when most people are working or the students would be in school, so that's really great. What do you think the benefits benefits are of the Spotlight on Youth program?
Well, again, I think the biggest benefit is it allows these students to think about the issues that we present and in a non-threatening manner. Basically, they talk about it among themselves, and it gives them the opportunity to seek help if they think they need it.
Okay, so if a parent is watching, or a teacher, or a principal, superintendent, whatever, board member, whatever, if they want more information on the Spotlight on Youth program and maybe scheduling this in their school, who would they talk to and what's the phone number they'd call?
Okay, again, they would call Errol Lynn at the North Canton Playhouse and at 494-1613.
Okay, and that's Spotlight on Youth.
Right.
Okay, thanks for coming this evening.
Thank you.
We've got more. Stay with us. Our next two guests are Dolores Cope and Jim Clark. Dolores is the board president of the Stark County Hunger Task Force, and Jim Clark is with Walsh University, where you do, I believe, public relations. Is that correct?
Information, yes.
Okay, but Dolores, do you want to tell us a little bit about the Hunger Task Force? What does the Hunger Task Force do?
Sure. In about 1982, the group of people in the community got together, and it was determined that one of the needs of the community was assistance for emergency food for individuals in Stark County.
Okay.
We named it a task force, thinking it would be of a short term. The need is still there, so we are still assisting people. At one point we had 3 distribution sites. We now have 21, which are geographically distributed throughout the Stark County area, so that individuals close to a site could go to them, and it's convenient for them, and it also helps to avoid some duplication of services.
Okay, now how does this work? How do you gather this food?
A lot of groups will participate in that, as well as donations that come in, and then we purchase food from the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank. We can do that for 11 cents a pound. We're also under the FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, which provides funds for emergency food assistance.
Okay, are you associated with the Community Harvest?
Yes, Community Harvest is an outgrowth of the Hunger Task Force.
Okay.
The Hunger Task Force serves individuals through the pantry distribution, meaning sacks of food, etc. Community Harvest will assist through the soup kitchens, the congregate sites.
Okay.
And that food is generated primarily through restaurants. Rather than to throw out, to pitch excess food, they will contribute it to Community Harvest, and then it is utilized by individuals, which is a terrific service.
It sure is, because there's a lot of food that goes to waste.
And you know, individuals can do that. As if you have a big party, you've had it catered, you have so much food left over, give us a call. We'll come, we'll pick it up, and distribute it to the people.
Okay, now if a group comes to you, or even a person comes to you, do you help them set up programs?
We can do that, but individuals in the community, businesses, etc., are so creative. We could not possibly think of the creative ways. I think Nationwide Insurance had an ugly leg contest for their men employees. I mean, people have really come up with some clever things, including Walsh College.
Exactly. Now, Walsh University has a program that is very creative. You want to tell us about that?
This is called a Sack for a Sack, and it goes with our football program and Fisher Foods and the task force. Every time a quarterback sack comes from our defensive players, a sack of groceries goes to the task force from Fisher Foods, and we're just thrilled to be involved with the 2 great organizations like that.
Okay, so how's football going?
Right now we have 21 sacks in 5 games, which is just great. It means we've fed 21 families, we hope. And our team's 3-2 right now after 5 games, which is just great. We've won 2 ball games in a row. We're really playing pretty good football for a first-year program, really for any program right now.
Okay, who puts the things in the sack? Does Fisher Foods take care of that?
Well, each month Monday, I call the task force and tell them we had 3, 4, 5 sacks. Then they take it from there. They contact Fisher, and Fisher and the task force helps deliver the food.
How does your team feel about that? I mean, obviously the football team's aware they're
Defensive
playing.
guys love it. They have a goal like we want to feed 7 families this week, 5 families a week, and they really take it to heart, and they feel they're doing some good.
Okay, where are you playing your games?
All games at North Canton Stadium, the 5 home games. We have 2 home games left with Lindenwood College on the 7th of October, with Malone on November 11th. So we're hoping for some big turnouts for those games.
Okay, if anyone wants information about Walsh University's football, they can call over at the university and find out where you're playing, when you're playing, and all the details. And I'm glad you're doing so well.
Well, we're having a great time. We're just happy to be back with you.
Okay, and if anyone wants more information about the Stark County Hunger Task Force, wants to set up a program, maybe has a great idea for collecting food, they need to call. Who would they call?
Sure, call the Hunger Task Force at 452-6070. And I just want to add, in addition to what Walsh University is doing, Fisher Foods are contributing $5 per sack that can be used for perishables.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So that's great too.
Well, thank you both for coming on, and come back again soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we've got Pat Perkins next with the calendar of events. Stay with us. Next up is Pat Perkins with the calendar of events. Pat?
Thanks, Susie. The Pegasus Farm is seeking volunteers to assist in its fall therapeutic horse riding program for persons with disabilities. Volunteers ages 14 and older will assist in leading horses, sidewalking riders, grooming horses, cleaning tack and stalls, and assisting with other activities. For more information, you can call them at 935-2300. The Stark County Veterans Memorial Committee would like to ask all Stark County veterans, past, present, and future, man or woman, whether you served during war or peace, to help out in the construction of the Stark County Veterans Memorial to be built in Westbrook Veterans Memorial Park in Canton, Ohio. Financial donations are accepted, or you may purchase a brick with a veteran's name on it, or a non-veteran can help out by honoring those who have served by purchasing a brick. For more information from them, contact them at 452-2285. And it's never too late to mark your calendar for one of Stark County's most popular fundraisers, the Kris Kringle. This year's 25th annual event is set for November 10th, 11th, and 12th in the Cultural Center for the Arts. It includes 100 carefully chosen top artisans and craftsmen who offer their unique wares to the shopper. Hours will be 10 to 8 on November 10th and 11th, and 11 to 5 on November 12th. Tickets for the Kris Kringle Mart are $3 in advance and $4 at the door, and tickets for senior citizens and children 6 through 12 are $3. Canton Garden Center is gearing up for its holiday season, featuring the 1995 Christmas Tour of Homes on Friday and Saturday, December 1st and 2nd. 3 homes featuring a different architecture and decor have been selected. Additional information is available by calling the Garden Center office at 455-6172. Twin Value Pharmacy at 4790 Everhard Road Northwest will offer flu vaccinations October 14th and October 28th from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. The shots are co-sponsored by the Visiting Nurse Society of Akron. Cost is $10, and shots are free for those with cards showing Medicare Part B coverage. For information, call 966-8880. Absentee voters for the November 7th election will begin on Tuesday. Any registered voter may vote by absentee if they will be absent from the county November 7th. If they're hospitalized on Election Day, if they have a personal illness or physical disability, if they are age 62 or older, or or are a full-time safety officer or emergency service provider. Requests for absentee ballots through the mail must be in writing, and they must include the voter's name, the residence, the election for which the ballot is requested, reasons for requesting an absentee ballot, address to which the ballot is to be sent, and the voter's signature. Requests for absentee ballots must be received by the Board of Elections by noon on November 4th, and they must be returned by 7:30 in the evening on November 7th. So if you can't get out there and vote, send for a ballot. That number is 438-8867. And tickets are now on sale for the Polar Express trip aboard the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad. For the second year, the National Park Service, the railroad, the Borders Books and Music bring the popular children's book to life. Trips are scheduled for December 14th and 15th and the 18th through the 22nd. And children are invited to wear their pajamas on board the train, as do the children in the story. Tickets are $11 for adults and $6 for children. For more information or for reservations, you can call them at 1-800-468-4070. The YMCA Senior Center is sponsoring a holiday trip to Cleveland December 4th. That visit will include a tour of historic churches and viewing of Christmas lights and displays. For information for that, you can call them at 456-7141. And the Canton chapter of ARC is sponsoring a trip on November 5th to Cleveland for a performance of Ricky Van Shelton. The group is also sponsoring a cruise that's planned for January 14th through the 21st. So if you'd like information on either one of those, you can call them at 477-3961. And the Jackson chapter, 541 of ARP, is sponsoring a December 4th trip to Mansfield. It will include a 10,000 square foot display of poinsettias at the Possum Run Nursery, a visit to the Living Bible Museum, Christmas light displays, and more. For information on that trip, call 477-9335. And before we give you our number and address, we'd like 4 young people to come up here from high schools in our area who have been helping us tonight. We appreciate your help. They're with our Explorers group that started here with us. This is Julie and Matthew and Scott. So thanks a lot, guys, for helping us.
We're glad to have you with us.
If your nonprofit club or organization would like to have its events on this program, you can write to us, the Community Television Consortium, Post Office Box 8335, Canton, Ohio. The zip is 44711. Or you can give us a call at 493-8925. What's Happening airs on Tuesdays at 6, Thursdays at 6:30 on Warner Cable Channel 11, and on Thursdays at 7:30 on Maslin Cable 50.
Thanks, Pat. That wraps up another edition of What's Happening in Stark County. Thanks for joining us. I have a tape in my car.